Hello and welcome to Amiga Alive. Today we want to try to repair these two Competition Pro joysticks. The black one has an issue with the fire buttons. It turned out the cable is broken and it needs replacement. And the transparent one has far more serious issues. As you can see, there are a couple of missing parts. Let's start with the transparent one. Obviously, there are a couple of micro switches missing here, but we also need to find something to restore the second fire button, where not only the micro switch is missing, but also the housing for the micro switch. So let's remove the housing that we have and take a good look at it. As we can see here, the housings for the fire buttons micro switches slide into the bottom of the fire button only from one direction. And we can see that we cannot slide it in on the other side where the housing and the micro switch are missing. So we need to rotate that one. Here is a little test run with the housing that we have, and this way it's gonna work. We need a housing for the other fire buttons micro switch, and this is clearly a job for our trustworthy 3D printer. Well, let's start taking measurements and start modeling. And here we have a nice model in Blender and in our slicer program for the printer. Printing takes some time, which we can nicely use to clean the joystick thoroughly. And let's take a look at the black one. As you can see, it's built slightly differently. It uses different switches for the fire buttons, which isn't bad at all, because it makes it very easy to give these two a little service. So we clean the contact points and give the metal a little bending, so the fire buttons safely make contact and have a little shorter travel. And we give the plugs a little push and pull to remove potential corrosion and dirt. Of course we could do more here, but these have been working, they never move, so this should be fine for another couple of years. Okay, but the main issue here is the cable. By wiggling on the cable, it has been proven that it is the reason the fire buttons sometimes don't work. So we need a replacement, and it's always good to have some spare parts from another broken joystick lying around. Our replacement cable looks slightly different, which is no problem, but we have to take care for different wire colors. And as you can see, it has different plugs which need to be replaced too. Let's take a look at the joystick connector's pinout. There is not too much that can go wrong here. The worst case would be that our game character moves in the wrong direction. But of course we have to take extra care for the +5 volt and the ground wires. Writing everything down helps avoiding mistakes. And now that we have a good plan, we can start to move the plugs from the old cable to the new one and put it all together again. Very nice. Meanwhile, our printer has finished printing our prototype. But, as you might be able to see, I've made a mistake. The good news is that it fits nicely into the fire button's bottom side. But the bad news is one of the little hooks in the housing is reaching downwards while it should be reaching upwards. So, let's run our 3D software again, make the necessary adjustments and create another specimen. Now this is obviously better, it still fits, and now its shape looks almost identical to that of the original one. So we can create our production specimen using a proper color and start putting it all back together. So far, so good. Now all that's left is to add the missing micro switches and close the casing. A note on micro switches: it would be better to use 4 identical ones for the 4 directions, because there are tiny differences in travel and resistance. But I like to use what I have. I have these lying around. So this will be a slightly individual Competition Pro joystick. Well, we'll see how it works when we're done. Okay, it's testing time. The black one works flawlessly. So does the transparent one. And it turns out that using these slightly different micro switches isn't dramatic at all, only the down direction has a tiny bit less resistance. Nice, so we have 2 Competition Pro joysticks fully working, and I think I'll keep the transparent one until my last day. Thanks for watching and hope to see you again in another episode of Amiga Alive.